A few weeks ago, Venerable Kajo was giving some really helpful advice on how to work with our minds during this political situation. And she mentioned the simile of the saw and the instructions that the Buddha gave of even if someone is sawing you apart, look at them with compassion. So it sounds like something the Buddha would say, but I was pretty intrigued and looked up the sutra. And it's a pretty short sutra where the Buddha gives instructions on how to respond to harm. And so it starts out with an introduction to Venerable Phaguna, who was spending a lot of time with the nuns. And if anyone spoke badly about the nuns, he would get upset. The sutra says he would be angered, displeased, and make an issue of it. And if anyone spoke badly about him in the nuns' presence, they too would be angered, displeased, and make an issue of it. So his peers noticed this and reported it to the Buddha, who asked Venerable Phaguna if this is true. And he said it is. The Buddha reminded Venerable Phaguna that he had left the home life, and when he hears someone speaking badly about the nuns, he should train himself thus: my mind will be unaffected, and I will say no evil words. I will remain sympathetic to that person's welfare with a mind of goodwill and with no inner hate. And the Buddha continued, even if someone is being violent towards the nuns, he should respond with a mind that is unaffected, saying no evil words, remaining sympathetic to that person's welfare with a mind of goodwill and no inner hate. And I was pretty taken aback by this. Like, I see someone hitting my friend and I'm supposed to have a mind that is unaffected? I don't understand that. But thinking about it a little bit more, I think that this word unaffected is more like this immeasurable quality of equanimity. This mind that isn't biased towards the aggressor or the person being attacked, but is really wanting the best for everyone, really very much cares about the person creating this negative karma, and also very much cares about this person who is being harmed. And in that way is able to respond with real, authentic compassion that is free of anger and hate, and still can also be very forceful in saying, stop this, this is not right. You're causing a lot of suffering for yourself and others. In a way that hopefully the aggressor can really hear it, because it's not coming from this frustrated, this angry place. And so the Buddha then goes on to instruct Venerable Phaguna that he should also respond in this way when someone is speaking badly about him, not just about his friends, when someone is being violent towards him, not just hurting someone that he cares about. And the Buddha discusses the importance of abandoning unskillful qualities and cultivating his skillful qualities. And as we do this, he describes it like clearing up an old, overgrown forest. We pluck out these small, kind of jagged, crooked trees. And we make room for the tall, the upright trees to really get light from the sun and grow, and those are our virtuous qualities. And so as Buddhist practitioners, we're committed to decreasing and eventually eliminating our afflictions and nourishing our good qualities. And so we prioritize ethical behavior no matter what is happening to us, because we know the real cause of our dissatisfaction is actually right here in our own mind, created by our own afflictions and our past negative actions. And we see that the cause of others' harmful actions is their afflictions. And so we aren't so different. As things are happening in the country and in the world that we disagree with, we can speak out and speak against harmful actions, and we can do this without speaking ill of the people doing them. And actually, this is an opportunity to train our mind to see the people making these decisions with a lot of compassion, with a mind of goodwill and no inner hate. That we can have compassion towards the people who are experiencing the harm and the people who are actively perpetuating it. We can call our elected officials and speak to them like fellow human beings, maintaining our own integrity and consideration for others, while being, forceful and really insisting that they take action. So I've been looking at what I have in common with the president. On the surface, maybe not so much. I'm a different gender, I'm a lot younger, and we have very different ideas of how to make America great. We come from different socioeconomic classes and spend our time doing different things. I like to think that I smile more and have a bit more friendly disposition. But underneath these, superficial differences, we are both aging and approaching death. We're both going to leave behind everything we have in this life, taking only the karma we've created with the actions of our body, speech, and mind. We both experience dukkha of not getting what we want, getting what we don't want, having a body that needs to be fed, hydrated, rest, experiences illness, aches, and pains. We both have minds that get overwhelmed by afflictions. And we both lack any inherent existence, although we both act as if I, me, and mind are actual findable things. And we both want to be happy, and we don't want to suffer. And the president may actually think that he's happy. And the reason I think this is because I've spent a lot of time in my own life chasing after attachments and thinking that that zingy feeling, that excitement, is actually happiness. But looking deeper, realizing that this is really clinging and craving, thinking that my happiness is to be found outside of myself in some other person, in a place, in a possession, in a situation. And so from my own experience, I know that cultivating compassion, applying the mind training teachings, and being just kind and courteous to others really results in more ease, more peace in my heart, and contentment, this kind of deeper, more real, lasting happiness. And this is what I want for the president. I really want him to be free from his afflictions and to experience this deep contentment and inner peace. And so the simile of the saw continues with a scene about a woman and her servant. The woman has a reputation for being gentle, mild-tempered, and calm. People are praising her for this, but her servant wonders, is anger present and she just isn't showing it? Or is she truly free from anger? So the servant gets up later and later over the next few days, and when questioned, she says, yeah, there's no reason I'm getting up late. The woman gets angry and eventually hits her over the head with a rolling pin. Blood gushes from her head, and so then she runs to show the townspeople, look at what she did. She's not so mild-mannered after all. So we might think we're making progress on our afflictions, but when the causes and conditions come together, we see that they are right there, really easily activated. We might appear well-mannered and calm, but when we hear words that we don't like, about new policies we disagree with, and actions happening that are harming others, I know from my own experience, anger and fear arise. So the president is showing me how much work I have to do on my afflictions. This is an opportunity to see the disadvantages of anger and fear and to work to cultivate renunciation and compassion instead. And this doesn't mean to sit back and just let things happen, too bad, so sad, may everyone be free from their suffering, but to be engaged in a way that really comes from this place of wanting the best for everybody without this mind of anger and hate. And Geshe Eshitambge has been urging us to start right here with the people that we're with. So when someone ignores me or tells me something that I don't really want to hear, that I disagree with, tells me to do something that I don't want to do I respond with a virtuous mind or an afflicted mind? What kinds of stories am I projecting towards those around me? And how does this habit of projecting expand to those I don't know, to those in power who have different ideas and ways of doing things? So what I've been working with is to train to see each person here, try to cultivate this fondness and treat others like I would want to treat my mom, since we hear that we've all been each other's mother, and it's hard for me to get really this tangible sense of that. But to just try, like, hey, if my mom was here with me right now, how would I want to treat her instead of how my afflictions would drive me to treat someone? And then also, I've been really enjoying trying to also think, as Venerable Chödrön's been instructing us and encouraging us to think when we see other beings, I am going to become awakened for your benefit. And so just these, seemingly small things, but trying to make that into a habit of those who I am living with and interacting with, because if I am able to cultivate love and compassion for each person here with me now, this is the only way I have a chance of really creating love and compassion towards those who are in power, who are making decisions that I really disagree with. So the simile of the saw continues with the Buddha saying that there are 5 aspects of speech by which one may address us: timely or untimely, true or false, affectionate or harsh, beneficial or unbeneficial, with a mind of goodwill or with inner hate. In any event, he says, you should train yourselves thus. Our minds will be unaffected, and we will say no evil words. We will remain sympathetic to that person's welfare with a mind of goodwill and no inner hate. During the Chenrei Sikh practice, it's been very encouraging for me to imagine how the Buddhas see the president. Through these eyes of unconditional love, compassion, and total understanding, that Chenrei Sikh knows exactly the causes and conditions that have led him to think and act like this, and that there's no inherently existent person there. It's really this conglomeration of causes and conditions that are merely labeled President Donald Trump. Chenrei Sikh sees a person experiencing a lot of dukkha, overwhelmed by afflictions, and embraces him with total acceptance and total confidence in his Buddha potential, wanting so much to help him actualize this. And so there's this huge shift I notice in my own mind when I am reciting mantra and thinking about Chenrei Sikh being on the top of the president's head, sending light, love, compassion, helping him to eliminate all of his afflictions and bringing him all the realizations on the stages of the path. And compared to my ordinary view of anger, frustration, and disbelief is what's happening, and the amount of kind of support from other people in power for what's going on, the mind of compassion is much more balanced and calm. We're all here trapped in samsara. And thankfully, we have the Buddha's teachings to show us the way out, because those in power right now, especially, the president, his cabinet members, those folks are just encouraging and nurturing the afflictions. They're creating the causes for their suffering now and their suffering in the future. So the simile of the saw ends with the description that Venerable Kadro shared with us. Even if bandits were to carve you up savagely, limb by limb, with a 2-handled saw, he among you, or they among you, who let your hearts get angered, even at that, would not be doing my bidding. Even then, you should train yourselves. Our minds will be unaffected, and we will say no evil words. We will remain sympathetic with a mind of goodwill and with no inner hate. And so this really illustrates that no matter what is happening in the world or what is happening to us, what is most important is to hold our ethical conduct, to train our minds in virtue and develop our good qualities, and again see the disadvantages of anger and the afflictions, so that we can think, speak, and act with a mind of compassion and wisdom. And as we do this, we can engage with folks who we disagree with this mind of respect. And in that way, this is, I think, how there's that space for dialogue this space for listening and exploring and curiosity. And as we cultivate our good hearts, as we cultivate compassion for those around us and those who are farther from us, we are creating harmony and peace in our own hearts. And through our actions, others are going to notice that. Others are impacted because we interact with them. And they are going to be also inspired to cultivate their good qualities. And as we do this, we will be doing what is most important, is to create the causes for ourselves and others to be able to continue to meet the Buddha's teachings, to be inspired and to practice, and to progress along the path to awakening.